Happy Veterans Day. What better way to honor our service members than talking about Nazi zombie movies? Shout out to the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, National Guard, and I didn't forget about you in the reserves. Fun fact, a member of my family has served in every war from World War I on up to the Persian Gulf. In every branch of the military. My grandfather was a Korean War vet in the Navy. His job was to calculate the trajectory of cannon fire on ships. I have some cousins in New Orleans who are Marine veterans who received the Congressional Medal of Honor for saving people during Katrina. And my cousin Carmen was among the few women that flew missions in the Persian Gulf in the Air Force. Which is why I have my Captain Marvel shirt on today, because that movie was the best PR for the Air Force since Top Gun. So shout out to our veterans, and let's get into these movies. I'm going to start with Frankenstein's Army and Trench 11, but do not worry, I am also going to get around to talking about Overlord and Nazi Overlord. Frankenstein's Army starts out like a straight war movie. The first scene feels like you just started watching the movie from the middle. It just gets right into it. An Allied army troop is on a mission and then they run into something horrific. And I have questions. Like, why is Sasha wearing mittens? How is he going to pull the trigger of a gun if he has mittens on? Why are the Russian characters only speaking in English? Even when they're talking just amongst themselves, they're still speaking English. That said, I didn't love the found footage aspect of it. It was a little bit too much shaky cam for my taste. Sometimes it did feel like a first-person shooter game though. The dialogue a lot of times sounds like cutscenes from video games, as if it's just there to advance the story. And not the good cutscenes that you watch, the bad cutscenes that you just hit skip, select a weapon, and go ahead on your mission. There's no score for most of the movie, but it still had good sound design except for when the creatures were making pig noises. The locations looked great. This is one of those movies that has a dope-ass effects crew that are just like, we can make a whole lot of cool practical effects. Just write a story around it. Some creature designs were really, really cool, and others were just one step away from being that robot monster from the 1950s. They look like steampunk robot zombies. That would have been a better name for this movie. Steampunk robot zombies. The organic part of the practical effects looks great. The mechanical parts are illogical and tactically bad designs. That said, they were still kind of fun, and I laughed out loud at the propeller head monster. I mentioned the locations. The set design was really, really well done. This movie has some really cool visuals, but something was missing in the writing. If you've seen this, let me know what you think that is. I mean, the story was straightforward and it didn't really need any further explanation. Maybe it was lacking in character development, because the movie just jumps into action so quickly. And because it barely introduces the character, so you don't really care who lives or dies. That would be alright if the fatalities were entertaining enough to make up for that lack of character development. The most fleshed out character was the Mad Doctor, and incidentally he was the best actor as well. This movie shouldn't have been any longer than 72 to 75 minutes, tops. It was just alright. Not great, but not bad either. I watched it for free on Amazon Prime, so I can't complain too much. So I'll be back in a moment to tell you about Trench 11. This starts 72 feet underground with two dudes, one of which looks like Dan Aykroyd. He finds a corpse and I'm like, yes, we're gonna get some practical effects, that's what's up. This looks like it has a decent budget. They're shooting on location and the score sounds pretty good. The colors are nice and bright, no sepia filter. The The lighting's really good as well. So right off the bat, we can say that the technical aspects of this movie are on point. Now let's see where the story takes us. We learn that not Dan Aykroyd is romantically involved with a French woman. Then we get to meet this group of Allied troops who are on a mission and end up discovering something horrific. They are on a reconnaissance mission with orders to just observe and report. They go into a trench and find out that it has an underground bunker. Despite warnings from the German soldier who was left to guard the underground bunker, they venture inside and bad things happen. The pacing for this is pretty good for the most part. There were a couple of slow parts. We get to know these characters better than in Frankenstein's Army, but not by much. Remember in that movie when I asked why would the two Russian characters be speaking English to each other? This movie doesn't make the same mistake. The German characters do speak to each other in German when they are alone. This was a pretty well-made movie. The story was good. It had a similar premise to Frankenstein's Army, except replaced steampunk robot zombies with parasitic biowarfare zombies. This is pretty much like a higher brow Frankenstein's Army. And that's not bad. Neither of these movies were amazing, but they were entertaining enough. I wasn't disappointed. But like I always say, don't take my word for it. Watch it for yourself. Just because I love something doesn't mean you won't hate it. And just because I hate something doesn't mean you won't love it. Do you like Nazi zombie movies? Have you seen Frankenstein's Army or Trench 11? What did you think of them if you saw them? Let me know in the comments. Bye.